which has to do with Biden's reconciliation bill. Build Back Better's gift to the gas industry. So while the Democrats like to portray the so-called Build Back Better plan as being a significant step in the right direction on the environment and on climate issues, they're not telling the whole story. And the Daily Poster here reports that. Hidden in the reconciliation bill's clean energy rebate program is a provision that could tether homeowners' appliances to natural gas for a long time to come. President Joe Biden has touted his administration's Build Back Better Act as the largest effort to combat climate change in American history. While not untrue, the devil is in the details, and the devil buried in the climate section of the reconciliation bill text, a sizable gift to the natural gas industry in the form of rebates for Americans switching to appliances powered by burning natural gas. Tucked into the section calling for residential efficiency and electrification rebates is a subtle 6-year policy to make $5.9 billion available to establish the Homeowner Management Energy Savings Rebate Program. The policy, which aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and increase household energy and cost savings, would help states establish rebate programs for energy-efficient retrofits. According to the White House, the consumer rebates and credits included in the Build Back Better framework will save the average American family hundreds of dollars per year in energy costs. But when it comes to what type of appliances are eligible for the rebate program, the legislation notes the following, quote, in calculating total energy savings for single-family or multifamily homes under this section, a program may include savings from the purchase of high-efficiency natural gas HVAC systems and water heaters certified under the Energy Star program. In other words, this rebate program would incentivize consumers to stay locked into natural gas systems to power their homes. And as Reuters reported last year, the natural gas industry's rapidly increasing emissions, especially in the United States, are likely making the sector the biggest barrier to tackling climate change. Fantastic reporting there. They go into further details. First of all, one of the big lobbies for the gas industry has spent somewhere in the ballpark of $1 million lobbying on the reconciliation bill to try to get some of these provisions more to their liking. They also discuss the general narrative, which has definitely been prevalent over the last handful of years, that natural gas is somehow sort of a bridge to cleaner energy, that it is moving us away from oil and coal and moving us towards green energy options. And that is just sort of overstated. Especially if you're using fracking to get the methane to produce the natural gas in the first place, because you end up actually emitting in the process of fracking to get that methane, you end up doing as much damage to the environment as you would just by burning coal. So this is one of those narratives that the fossil fuel industry has been very successful in pushing, that natural gas is somehow a step in the right direction. And now they are trying to sort of lean into that and get Biden and the Democrats to go along with rebate programs that would encourage customers to go with natural gas. It also, as they said later in this piece, those rebates would in some cases go directly to the companies if the companies installed them. So there's a number of ways that this is just sort of a brazen handout to gas companies, big oil, etc. So while Biden purports to be fighting to combat climate change, he's actually continuing to contribute to it. And we know that one of the first things he did within 3 or 4 weeks of taking the White House is grant a whole bunch of new drilling permits for fracking and things like it. He canceled the, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the pipeline now, but anyway, one of the big pipelines that was getting some attention in lefty circles that was being protested, he canceled the permit for that so that he could get some good press. This is a theme, right? Biden does inconsequential things, or says inconsequential things that will get him some sort of praise among progressives, and then he never walks the walk on it, right? In his actions, he goes against what he's saying, and this is another one of these. So the pipeline that was getting enough attention to be worth canceling the permit for his reputation, he does that. But then he turns around and grants a bunch of drilling permits and goes forward with other pipelines, etc. Right? So you really got to pay attention to the nitty gritty stuff. And again, I just want to shout out the Daily Poster for constantly bringing that stuff to light, and bringing this lobbying, this corruption to light. And this, when the Democrats get mollywopped next November, this will be one of the reasons why. Because they've run on policy for 10 to 15 years that when given power, they refuse to implement, and they stand in their own way. Do you think voters give a shit if it's Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, or if it's... No, they don't. They look at their senator, their representative, they look at Schumer and Pelosi, they look at Biden and Harris, and they say, you can't even get your own party to fall in line. Why would we put our faith in you in any capacity at all? Right? So the Democrats, I don't even want to say failures, because I don't think they ever actually intended to pass any progressive reforms. I think maybe half the party is on board with like a lot of the provisions in Build Back Better or reconciliation bill, and the other half just really is not inspired to pass it, and is happy to hide behind Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema and let Joe Biden and Kamala Harris take the political hit for it, right? So, but undoubtedly, without question, you can put it on your calendars, people. Next November, you and I and Susan Sarandon and Bernie Sanders will be to blame for the Democrats' abject failures. You can put it on the calendar. I guarantee you they will blame us. Guaranteed. Even though I will have spent this entire time reporting on this stuff, trying to point out why they're going to lose. No, it'll be our fault. It'll be our fault that they can't pass legislation, that they can't get their own party to fall in line, that they can't live up to the things they campaign on, that they have run for 15 fucking years on. That'll be our fault somehow. So, unsurprising stuff here on the climate, but when you pair that with the earlier article about the Arctic warming, tends to get a little bit concerning, doesn't it? That we are so refusing to act. And by the way, if you want to talk about the political constraints on this, to whatever extent you have faith in the Democratic Party or the progressives in the Democratic Party to get some of this stuff done, do you have any in the Republicans? Because they're about to be in power again for 2 or 4 years. So how's the climate going to look then? Because of the Democrats' inaction, because they handed all of this power back to the other party that is openly opposed to addressing the climate. So they're failing us on all fronts, and then they'll turn around and blame us. And that is basically the Democrats summed up in a nutshell. We have one more